All right, guys. So apparently there's more to the story than even I was aware of. I've watched just a few minutes into this and it's very interesting. So I'll go ahead and play it.
If you use TikTok, last night the app shut down. By this afternoon, if you opened up the app, you received a pop-up notification that read, "Thanks for your patience and support. As a result of President Trump's efforts, TikTok is back in the US. You can continue to create, share, and discover all the things you love on TikTok." And so the subtext here is that Donald Trump swooped in as this white knight to save TikTok, which might carry just a bit more weight if the whole reason that TikTok was banned in the first place didn't start as the result of Donald Trump himself.
When I wanted to disable TikTok 3 years ago, I was met with opposition from rhinos, Democrats, and everyone else. They actually went to court in an effort to stop me.
We're looking at TikTok. We may be banning TikTok. We may be doing some other things. There are a couple of options, but a lot of things are happening. So we'll see what happens. But we are looking at a lot of alternatives with respect to TikTok.
We gave them until September 15th. After that, they got to close shop. Okay, that's TikTok.
We're looking at TikTok. We're thinking about making a decision. We're going to be watching the hearings today very closely because there's no question that what the big tech companies are doing is very bad. TikTok is one thing that we're doing, and we just, I don't know, maybe I would have done that anyway. I don't know. It could have been affected by this.
And in fact, in 2020, Trump signed an executive order effectively banning the app in the US, in which any transaction between TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, and US citizens would be outlawed for national security purposes. In other words, we are here because Trump got us here. So when TikTok posts groveling praise for Trump's leadership, what's conspicuously absent is the fact that Trump is the reason that it was banned in the first place. But no one in the media or at TikTok itself wants to acknowledge that part, because part of bending the knee is adopting whatever reality the God King wants you to adopt. Just like Zuckerberg and Bezos and Elon, now Shu is offering up exactly the kind of effusive praise that Trump expects. And what do you know? Shu is going to attend tonight's Make America Great Again victory rally. See how it works? You do Trump's bidding, you get special treatment. The entire big tech oligarchy just got the memo. Shu and TikTok are no different. If you want to play in Trump's America, you have to suck up to Trump and perpetuate the gaslighting. That's what's happening right now. And of course, this cognitive dissonance was put on full display across the entire right-wing media ecosystem. Charlie Kirk tweeted this effusive praise of dear leader. Trump is saving TikTok, pay attention Gen Z. Although while Gen Z is paying attention, we should probably take into account this tweet also from Charlie Kirk in 2020. President Donald Trump just announced on Air Force One that he will be banning the evil CCP-compromised app TikTok. America can't continue to allow our citizens to be surveilled by Xi Jinping and his terroristic cronies. I have long advocated for this. Fight back.
You notice that these people have no values, as I say again and again. They just parrot whatever Donald Trump wants them to parrot. It's sad. They're like fucking sheep. They have like no brain at all.
And it's not just Charlie Kirk. Trump's national security pick, Mike Waltz, showed up on CNN to praise the app as fantastic, even despite calling it spyware last year on Fox. Ryan Fournier, happy to see TikTok unbanned in the United States, should never have happened to begin with, make America great again, from the same guy who tweeted this, ban TikTok. And there are countless examples of this hypocrisy on full display. Here's the simple truth. These people think you are stupid. They create a problem, then take steps to unwind their own problem, and finally expect all the credit and none of the blame. If I set a building on fire and then put it out, are you going to hail me as a hero? Probably not. And what's worse is that Biden actually came out and said that he wouldn't enforce the TikTok ban. And yet still, TikTok did a big performative shutdown yesterday, only to bring the app back online today with some effusive praise of Trump, meaning this was less about the reality of the shutdown and more about publicly bending the knee to Trump to give him exactly what he expected. This whole thing, the disruption of service, the notices, the drama, the news cycle, it was all just a calculated move to help one person, Donald Trump. With that said, Democrats deserve some blame here for being so oblivious to the consequences of this very obvious play. The fact is that TikTok is monumentally popular in the US. 170 million Americans are on it. Many rely on it for their livelihoods. Most people rely on it as a source of information and news and entertainment. If Democrats in Congress couldn't see that voting to ban TikTok with effectively zero persuasive messaging as to why it should be banned was important, then of course there would be blowback. And yes, they did it with the help of Republicans and the vote was 50-0, but Biden signed the bill. They needed to recognize that they handed Donald Trump a perfect opportunity to then swoop in and reverse the damage that he caused, because as we all know, Trump has no long-standing principles other than making himself look good and taking credit, even if it's taking credit for problems that he created. Of course he would do that here. And lo and behold, that is exactly what happened. Democrats need to understand this media environment. They need to understand that it's not enough to just say, trust us, because frankly, very few people in this country trust the government. If you're not going to take the reality of this media environment into account, then you can't be surprised when you're forced to contend with the consequences of it. And on this topic, AOC brought up one of the most important points.
The answer is not just playing endless whack-a-mole with apps. The answer is that we should have real privacy legislation in the United States, and we should help people own their information and have greater agency over their personal information so that they're not being spied on all the time, whether it's a domestic company or a foreign company. So we need to actually have privacy laws in the United States, to which, of course, big tech is going to fight against, and their lobbies are going to fight against. So they just target an app instead of targeting the problem. And then lastly, when this thing was passed, all these legislators were like, who supported it, were like, oh, it's not a ban, it's just a forced sale, which, to be fair, forced sales have happened in the past. Grindr was a forced sale. And they'll say it's not a ban, it'll be a forced sale, it'll be fine. Well, first of all, they provided very little time for that to happen. For an app that big, like who's going to buy TikTok? Hello, like it's very large. But besides that, after leaving no time for a forced sale, now here we are. And I would say that the lack of forethought and the rushed nature of this bill is now evidenced by the fact that both the Biden and Trump administrations are now looking to see if there's any way to reverse or stall it. And if they're looking at that now, why didn't they look at it then?
In other words, of course, big tech wouldn't allow for comprehensive privacy legislation. They can't allow that because our data is quite literally what they sell. Not ads, not content, not endless scroll, not the platforms, our data. Now do you see why they're all so desperate to get into Trump's good graces? Because their primary offering, our data, is only as safe as the next administration's willingness to protect it, to entrench the status quo. But they sure do know how to buy Trump, and they put that on full display over the last month. And he is perfectly willing to be bought, to the tune of millions and millions of dollars each. TikTok, Meta, Washington Post, Amazon, LA Times, nearly every social media company platform, and even legacy media outlet is now owned by someone who fell over themselves to heap praise and money and influence onto Trump. When we say oligarchy, this is what it looks like. The richest people in America who own every platform and algorithm in which we all communicate, openly in the tank for Trump and the GOP.
Surprise, surprise. So, as I already said, without knowing all of the story here, Trump had I believe Trump had some sort of scheme going. And as it turns out, I was right. Trump don't do anything just to help people, ever, ever. So, apparently, see, I didn't know that he was the freaking cause of it in the first place. And again, we've got like 4 to 5 different selections of video evidence for that here in this video. Like, you can't deny it. Like, it's fucking obvious. It's like right in your damn face, right out of his fucking mouth. So yeah, it goes. I knew there was something. I just didn't know what it was. I figured that he might try to like bring it back, but it would be heavily, like almost like how he did with X, like how Elon Musk bankrolled it, and then they basically turned it into a right-wing propaganda tool. He claimed that it was free speech, but what's it called? He caused the algorithm to push right-wing content, and it shut down left-wing content, which is the opposite of free speech. And yeah, so I figured he would try to do something like that with TikTok, because then he could use it for like a Trump is great, like propaganda outlet, and make even more retarded cheap. But yeah, that still could happen, but that's what I was thinking. I didn't know that he kind of started the whole legislation into trying to get it banned in the first place, which is hilarious. So this goes like hand in hand with Trump's general MO. Like, he'll claim that he's going to fix something, but it's something that would have never been broken if he hadn't have fucked with it in the first place. Just like pretty much all of the safety net programs that we have that are extremely popular, the GOP in general, Trump is really bad for it, but it's even bigger than him. It's like all of the GOP. They will create legislation that fucks over, like, say, SNAP EBT or something, like what used to be called food stamps. And then it creates issues for it due to the legislation. And then they go, look at this shit. We've got to drain the swamp. This is a problem, just so they can like have an excuse and say like, well, we've got to fix this problem. And then they just cut more money and just keep getting rid of anything that actually helps people. They get rid of it, and then they're like, "Yeah, we fixed that problem." It was only a fucking problem because you caused it in the first place, and people fall for this shit. And he's done it again. It reminds me of I was thinking about covering it. I don't think I did anyway. I've done a lot of Trump shit lately, but I didn't get around to it. But Greenland. So because Trump like doesn't care at all about truth and will lie, cheat, steal, do whatever it takes to like get his narrative followed, there was a little media stunt where Greenland people from Greenland were like holding up a bunch of like MAGA signs and "Make Greenland Great Again" or some shit like that, and all of these people were like pro Trump, and they used that and they pointed to it and they're like, "See, even people from Greenland want Trump to take over." And little do you know, and you can dig this up yourself, it's proven at this point, Trump or someone adjacent to Trump paid a bunch of homeless people. Well, they didn't pay, from what I know. They got them to eat at this nice restaurant, and they basically footed the bill for them eating there in exchange for them to like LARP as MAGA enthusiasts. And several people from the actual area there in Greenland said that they recognize these people and they're all homeless people. So the truth is, just like most sane people on the planet, Trump is a laughing stock worldwide. Like we're a joke right now, and for good reason. And they fucking hate Trump. Like by and large, they fucking hate Trump. So it reminds me of that, and it seems like he's gonna pull this. There's more to come. You're gonna see plenty of this. It's like we're a fucking reality TV show at this point. Like, what kind of stupid shit is Trump gonna pull next and like try to lie to people? And of course, the MAGA supporters will be like, "That's a bullshit, man. That was all true." Just like they believe that he fucking won the 2020 election. Like, it's hilarious. Anyhow, that's it for now. Have a good one.